Good morning. Welcome back to the Countdown to Ironman Lake Placid video series. My name is Joe with Endurance Mentors, and today we're looking at the run course. First and foremost, I just want to say thanks to those athletes we had a chance to connect with this week via our mentorship sessions. Totally impressed by how far everyone has come and what they're juggling in their life right now. It's really impressive. And everyone's at a different spot, but I think that everyone is really setting themselves up for a lot of success on race day. So it was great chatting with you all. You know who you are. If anybody else wants to chat ahead of the race or take advantage of our mentorship sessions, all you'll need to do is click the link in the description below, fill out just a very, very brief form. It'll take you 30 seconds, and then we will get something on the books. The first mentorship session is always free. So right now, if you just have questions about your last couple blocks or a couple weeks, I should say, of training, or questions about the course, logistics around race day, don't hesitate to just reach out. I like to schedule them very quickly for you because time is of the essence right now. So I'd be more than happy to get something on the books very quickly and we can get your questions answered. Again, all you need to do, click the link in the description below, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we are on to the run course. All right, the 2024 Ironman Lake Placid run course. We begin in transition at the Olympic Oval, and really the way I like to think about this run course is I break it up just mentally into really like 4 different sections. It's really 2 different sections, but it's a 2-loop course, so hey, 4 it is. Starting in transition, the first thing I'm thinking about is coming out of town, kind of running along kind of the main drag here, and then out to the end, the turnaround point in River Road. The reason that I like to think about that as section 1 is that this section is it's mostly downhill or flat. Okay, this Ironman run course, basically you trend down for the first, what ends up being about 4.5, 4.75 miles. And then you turn around and then it's going to be back up, back into the center of town. So I like to kind of break it up mentally into kind of the downhill section and then the largely uphill section. There is a fair amount of climbing on this course. This year, they're clocking it at 1,258 feet. That's what is listed on the Ironman website. I think that's probably accurate. When I ran this race last year, I had an elevation of about 900 feet. So I do think that they have the elevation has been increased, which makes it a little bit harder, of course. But I will say that I think there's a silver lining here, which I'll get into, in a little bit. So we run out of town. We run through kind of the main drag. This is where you'll go through a big downhill right out of town. It's trending flat, basically, along the main drag. We'll go past the airport. And when we hit the ski jumps, that's when we take a left onto River Road. Now, one of the main differences of the course this year as opposed to years past is we're actually going to do less running on River Road. River Road is a flat, but then there are some rolling sections of the course. We'll still have a really good flavor of this run course of River Road. The rolling aspect of it, the flat sections are still all going to be there, but we only run about half based on the map here, only about half of the road. Okay, now there's some good parts and bad parts to that. One thing that is, I think, a positive is that River Road is very low lying. So when you're running on River Road, the air tends to be a little bit like stale down there. And you're right along this river. It really is beautiful. But when we used to do kind of a 4 miles out and 4 miles back, now it's more like maybe a little more than 2 miles out and a little more than 2 miles back. So we're talking about probably half the distance on this road. I think overall it's a positive because I think this will lend to a little bit less time in that kind of stale air environment. The other thing about this part of the course, the River Road part of the course, is that it is tough for spectators to get out here. You are very far out, and it can be a little bit lonely out there. So the fact that we're going to be only on that for half as much as we used to be, I think is a positive for the athlete, even though the trade-off is a little bit more elevation on the course. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so we've done the first section of the course. We're running out to the end of River Road. We loop around, and now we run back. We run the whole thing back. We run the incredibly steep hill in the center of town. And instead of taking a left to go back up towards transition, we hang a right here, okay? This is a new part of the course this year, okay? This, in the few years previous to this has been a part of the bike course. This has been out and back on the bike. But now this is part of the run course. This is from the intersection all the way up to the turnaround here. This is basically uphill. Okay, this is going to trend uphill. You get a little bit of a down, but it's more or less going to trend up. And this is where that extra elevation on this run course comes from. Couple things though about this that I personally actually really like. Number one is this is pretty high up in from an elevation standpoint, especially when compared to what we used to do on River Road. So there's a good chance we'll have a breeze up there. River Road got a lot of sun. This will also get a lot of sun, so you're not going to get a reprieve from that. But there's a real possibility that we could have a breeze on this part of the course. And just to give everybody a little bit of a sense, from this intersection here up to the turnaround point, it's a little bit less than a mile. So that ends up being about 2 miles of the course there, and I think that actually it's going to be a really nice area. The views there are spectacular. The cover of this video, if you saw it, is one of the views from this section of the course when we were there 2 weeks ago. So I really think this is a nice part of the course, and there's a few more things I like about it, which I'll get to there in just a minute. All right, so we come back off of this. Now we climb up and then we go back down. So we do get a little bit of a downhill there before we head back up, trending uphill again, running along the lake, and then doing a turnaround. And that brings us to the half marathon point, again, back right next to transition. And then, of course, it's a 2-loop course, so we get to do it again. I think that when I had the opportunity to run every inch of the course, we did it kind of over 2 days a few weeks ago. While this course, I think technically is harder, I think mentally it'll be easier to break it down. And there are some things that I really like about this. The first is kind of a message it's a message to the athletes, but it's also a message to spectators. Because this intersection right here, okay, this is the top of the Papa Bear climb on the bike course. And if it's if this is an accurate map, this means that the spectators who gather right here at the top of Papa Bear, which is always where there's a good amount of people huddled in right there, this will end up being an awesome spectating spot for the athletes coming in off the bike course, as well as athletes making a loop on the out and back here. So if you have family, who's spectating, or if you're just out there taking in the course, this is going to be an awesome spot for spectators. And we did not have that on the old course out on River Road. It was especially when it got later at night. This was a really kind of lonely stretch, and the turnaround out there 4 miles out on River Road, this was a quiet area. I mean, there was, of course, spectators worked so hard to get out there. There was always some, but I think the opportunity for spectating this new course is far superior to spectating the old course. So I think that's a great positive, both for spectators and for the athletes. Spectating all throughout the area here now is going to be really fantastic. So I think it adds really one more emotional lift for a lot of the athletes. Get a boost from family and friends, etc. So I think that's a real positive for this course. Again, a little bit of a trade-off. We're doing more elevation, but better spectating opportunities. I think there could be a breeze up here, which we really did not get down on River Road. So I think that's also a real positive for this year's course. And then the other thing that I like to bring up for those late night finishers, and I've been there myself, I think the lighting is going to be much better up here as well. River Road gets very dark Ironman does a nice job of like putting lights out there, but River Road is this kind of like windy road. There's trees on all sides of it. So really, once the road goes around a bend, even though they have big floodlights out, you're back in the dark. So the floodlights really just are catching these small areas. This area out here has a very different feel. This is wide open. It actually kind of cuts through the middle of a golf course. So I think the lighting out here is going to be far superior to when we were running late at night out on River Road. So I think, just from a mental standpoint, there's something that really kind of dragged you down mentally when you're just running in the dark late at night. If you've been there before, you know what I'm talking about. I do think that this gets us off River Road quite a bit earlier, and we're doing some of our late night running in this part of the course, which I think will have much better lighting. So overall, my takeaway on this is I'm really excited for this run course. I do think it's harder. So if you've done this course in the past and you're looking for a PB, good luck. I think it is significantly more elevation than in years past. I think about 300 more feet than what we've run certainly the last few years. But I think it's a really nice course. I think that it is going to be great for spectating. And I think some of these additions might make just the whole overall experience, you'll be a little bit more engaged with the town as opposed to when we were kind of way out, kind of at the end of River Road on those out and backs. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think overall this is going to be a great run experience. It's going to be tough, of course, but I think for many athletes, they're really going to enjoy this. And for the 25th anniversary, this is a great run course, quite frankly. So be a great opportunity to get some good pictures and hopefully get a little breeze when we're up here at the higher elevations with kind of less tree cover. All right. I hope everyone finds this helpful. Of course, you're going into this run pretty taxed. So us as athletes are probably going to have less fun on this run course than the spectators. But I think that everybody, at this point, we're in the big final push. If there's anything that I can help you with, please go ahead, schedule a mentorship session. All you need to do is click the link in the description below. First mentorship session is always free, so it's no commitment on your end. Just an opportunity to meet, answer some questions, and hopefully give you a little bit of confidence going into your last part of your build, and then tapering, and then there we are on race day. So, all right, thank you so much. I really hope you found this helpful, and I will catch up with you next week. Take care.